the gas tax, although we're all talking about how it's going to affect us in cars and tolls, and it occurs to me it's going to affect our school systems. Because I live in Peabody now. I grew up in Salem, but I live in Peabody, and we bus just about every single school day. And we're up for contract now, so that's going to affect our education budget. Is there anything you can do that can help us in the education system? Salem doesn't. I don't think you bus as much.
Not as much.
But
cities are exempt from the tax. We don't pay it. But you're right. When you're using vendors, it has a flow through.
What's your first name?
Ann.
So Ann, where's Ann?
Behind you.
I'm sorry, Ann. Sorry, you were asking about the effect on the education budget, particularly the transportation budget. And there's no way around the fact that there's going to be an impact. Now, I don't know I don't know that every transportation company is going to deal with that the same way. You know, whether they're going to just pass it through or do something different. I don't know the answer to that. It relates a little bit though. My answer, I think, relates a little bit though to the question that Matt was asking about the impact on college students. There are going to be a whole host of. There was a fellow yesterday in Navy who was saying, you know, that his, I think it was his daughter, is disabled. She drives. She's on SSI, and she's, you know, she doesn't get a lot of money, and she drives to get to her therapies and whatnot. And would there be some way to lighten the burden on her by increasing her SSI payments? I mean, there's going to be a lot of that kind of thing. People saying we should do something to try to figure out a solution for the school departments, or we should figure out a solution for community college students. And I am sensitive to that, but I don't have a solution right now. You know, this is one of those things where everybody's going to have to contribute. And I look,
I know, we do understand that.
I know you do.
And I'm sure you're well aware that all cities and towns are cutting budgets. And, you know, I have 3 kids. I have a senior graduating out of high school, and I have a 3rd grader. So I'm in the school system until I'm dead. Naturally. No matter what.
Are your kids teenagers?
I have a 17-year-old who'll be off to college next year, and I have a 3rd grader who's over there on a computer because he's out too.
So we should keep it down.
No, because they don't get very up. The problem is every time we have budget crises, at least where I live, it seems the first thing everybody gets hatcheted is your education, and we can't do that. And I can just see, at least in my town, which they're already talking about whether they're going to close the school. Give them an excuse that they can't afford something, and it comes out of the education budget. There isn't any way to earmark something to say, you know, you can't. I mean, not all towns are the same, but I'm telling you, they're going to cut my town's education.
Well, you know, it's a little like to Connor's question. I don't have that solution as I stand here. There are going to be all kinds of impact there. You know, let alone the working poor. For whom this is, you know, inherently regressive. I will say that at the state level, in terms of, you know, we've taken $2+ billion out of the budget this year, but nothing out of the Chapter 7. And next year, we're going. Our proposal is to hold the line. We can't increase it, but hold the line. And then to the point about stimulus money, use the education money from stimulus to bring everybody to foundation. But we haven't budgeted that because we didn't know at the time I had to submit my budget proposals what that money would, whether we would get the education money. But I think we will be able to do that if the legislature gives us the level of education funding that I have proposed. And by the way, make up the cuts in higher ed as well. Yeah, I think that's all I can. I hear you. I'll think about it.
Governor, can I have one comment as a school committee chair? I'll put my school committee chair hat. I think of the alternative of not doing this if we're not managing our transportation systems better at the state level, and it's costing us more because we're in junk bond status, or because there are dollars coming into the Commonwealth that have to be diverted to deal with transportation that is more than they should be, more than these efficiencies that will be created in this bill will allow, that's less money available for education. We always get the lion's share out of the state in terms of education, and Chapter 70 comes to us. But if there are more issues that have to be contended with in the state budget, just because of inefficiencies, because we're not collecting the right type of revenue, that means on the whole, there's less money available for education. So this isn't wonderful news that our transportation costs may be impacted, but the alternative of not doing this, meaning you've got more competing interests for those very limited state resources coming down the pike, that's not great news either, I guess.
And I don't wanna, I'm not saying don't do it, believe me.
No, you
And
just-
growing up in Salem, I'm well aware of how little public access we really have. I mean, I went to school in Boston, so it was great to hang out and just go anywhere. That would be nice. I just always worry that it seems to me, with a parent, as a parent that has kids in the school system, we're always getting cut and we're always getting feed. And this just looks like it'll be an easy access to say we need to feed or we need to cut.
Yeah.
Cost of doing nothing, I guess that's the other equation to look at, trade-off.